Hei alle sammen! Jeg håper dere nyter påsken. Det gjør i hvert fall jeg, men jeg har likevel et nytt intervju på lager. Jeg var så heldig for å være med Børns bak i turnébussen hans da han var her i Oslo for et par uker siden. Han varmet jo opp for Heldig på Sentrum Scene. Så jeg fikk en kjempehyggelig prat med han, og jeg håper dere synes det er spennende å høre på. Jeg har i hvert fall vært stor fan av han siden han slapp sin debut-EP for, det var vel litt tidlig, sent høst tror jeg det var. Så han har en helt unik stil, og stemmen hans er jo noe helt for seg selv, så jeg har vært veldig nysgjerrig på hva han har å si om musikken sin og sin egen stil. Så det er bare å sjekke et intervju her. Han hadde masse gøy å komme med.
Okay, Børns, it's so great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me.
Welcome to Norway. Is it your first time here?
Second time. We were here in the summer playing a festival. So first time to Oslo though.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How long are you going to stay here though? Do you have any time to see?
Not long enough. I mean, we got here in the morning and I walked down to the water, but pretty much just enough time to play a show and
Yeah.
head out, so
So you're warming up for Halsey. What is that like? Has it been good so far?
yeah, it's been really good. It's our second week. Halsey has a lot of very exuberant fans
Yeah.
that have been really nice to play to. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Is it really different to play for like the people that come to mainly see her? Does she have really different fans from you?
I don't know. It's definitely been, you know, they're definitely here for her. Majority of her shows. I mean, she sold out all these rooms.
Yeah.
And so it's been a little bit of a, you know, challenge every night to win over a crowd that doesn't know who you are.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I like that challenge though.
You just have to give it a little bit extra.
Exactly. So it keeps you, you know, on your toes.
Yeah.
But there's been some Børns fans in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere that you used to be a magician as a kid.
I used to dabble in magic. Yeah.
How did that transition happen though, from a magician to an artist?
I mean, I don't know if it was really a transition. I think I've always kind of had my hands in a melting pot of arts just to kind of keep things interesting and keep my brain going.
Yeah.
And magic was the first thing that I did that it was my first kind of performance art medium that I got into. And I really liked the reaction I was getting. So I think that got me more interested in performing for audiences.
Yeah, so you use some of that in the music, you think?
Yeah, I think so. You know, conjuring sounds like I would magic. You know.
But have you always known that you wanted to be a musician, or was there like a specific moment that made you realize it?
I mean, there's definitely been moments. There's been sparks of inspiring moments and just like milestones along the way. Especially the past 2 years since I moved to LA, I think.
Yeah.
It's been.
Was that when it all began, like the big stuff?
Yeah, I mean that's when I started. I've never signed to a label or. It was a big learning curve moving to LA.
Yeah.
And just kind of being around everyone that was like so many musicians, so many artists, you know. And
was it inspiring or was it kind of terrifying as well? I can imagine it must be like a bit overwhelming.
yeah, it could be, it can be, but I try not to overwhelm myself because you know everyone has their own thing that they're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
But LA is a very inspiring place, and it's a beautiful. Have you been there? Oh, hello. I see the light.
Oh yeah.
We're back.
Nice.
I feel like it's brighter now.
Maybe it is. I took it up a notch. Has a lot changed in your life since you released your first EP and the album? What has changed mainly since then?
Traveling a lot more, touring. That's definitely a new lifestyle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to countries and playing for people I've, you know, people in countries that I've never lots of travels.
Do you like it so far?
Yeah. The traveling?
Yeah?
Yeah, the traveling's been great. It's been a few times on this tour. It's been so fast-paced. It's kind of like occasionally I have to be like, where am I right now?
Yeah, you must get confused.
Yeah, it's a little disorienting because you're waking up in a new country almost every morning.
Yeah.
But it's pretty exhilarating.
Do you remember the first song you ever made or wrote? I don't know.
First song I ever wrote. Gosh, I feel like whenever someone asks me that, I'm like really trying to rack my brain. I don't really remember the first song I wrote.
What about the first song for the album though? Do you remember which one you finished first?
The first one for the full-length album?
Yeah.
I think it was Holy Ghost, maybe? It was either the emotion or Holy Ghost.
Did you have like a specific edition for the album, or were one of those tracks like the beginning of the entire process of making it?
I didn't really have a full vision for the album, but I knew if I put kind of the inertia into making an album that it would kind of start to blossom and things would make sense. So
Yeah.
I kind of didn't have too much time to think about it. I had like 2 months set aside to like work on the album, and like before and after that I was just on tour. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I have 2 months to get out as much music as possible, as much kind of things that are swimming around in my head, and then things started to make sense once I had like more songs and like putting them into like an album together and listening to them consecutively. I'm like, okay, now this starts to make sense.
But when you make music, do you have like a specific way you do it every time, like some kind of recipe, or does it happen randomly every time?
It's a different recipe.
Yeah.
You always kind of start from scratch, or you always make it from scratch, I guess.
Do you start with the lyrics, the melody, or does that also vary?
Yeah, it kind of varies.
Yeah.
I like to keep a lot of samples on my iPhone, just like when I travel. Just sounds of like people talking, or birds, or subway stations, or putting away silverware. I don't know, things that just inspire some sort of
So you get inspired
percussion
from
or
almost
something.
everything then. Sounds like that.
Yeah, I just like to have little bits of that because it can transport you really quickly, you know, sound effects or whatever. And I like chopping up vocals. I did the whole album with Tommy English, an amazing producer, and he's kind of a genius at chopping up vocal samples, taking my voice and using it as an instrument.
Okay.
So,
What's next for you? Have you started making more music, or do you constantly make music?
don't really have time to make music on the road, just because the schedule's been so crazy. But I had a couple days in LA that I laid down some ideas before this tour. But once we get back, we're kind of going into festival mode.
Yeah.
Doing a bunch of those.
Are you playing any festivals here this summer? Do you know?
Yes. Those are still being confirmed, so
Okay.
I can't say yet.
Well,
But
crossing my fingers.
yes, me too. I know. Hope to be back.
And is it true that you live in a treehouse in LA?
Used to.
Okay.
Used to live in
What happened?
in the trees. You know,
Did it fall apart?
things erode, termites, rain.
Wow.
Needed some TLC, so I had to move out.
Yeah.
It was a lovely, very charming little abode, though. Yeah. It's up and running now. I don't currently inhabit it,
Okay.
but it's better than it's ever been. So.
It sounds like a unique living situation.
Very unique, yes, quite unique.
And I also have to ask you, I ask everyone I interview this because I'm a huge Britney Spears fan.
Britney Spears.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
always been. I never.
Same.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So then it's even more fun to ask, what's your favorite song? Do you have like a specific?
I really like Toxic.
Yeah.
That's actually produced by
Love.
Swedes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
but
interviewed them
you're-
a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
For Mike Snow?
Yeah, it was Galantis.
Oh, Galantis.
Yeah, so the half of them.
Right, totally.
Yeah, they're
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing. You're right. Cool. Cheers.
Cheers.
Det blir det jeg har å by på fra POPdateringen i påsken, så håper jeg dere nyter ferien videre. Jeg er I hvert fall veldig fornøyd med å ha fått pratet med Børns. Jeg håper dere koste dere med intervjuet, og ha en fin ferie videre.